sir.
When you went to somebody
yeah, I was trying to figure something out pretty quick.
How about a little AC/DC? Yes. All righty. Let's see. Jay, can you come up here for a second?
Go ahead.
You know what to do?
Okay.
All right. Krista? No? Dora?
What I have to do?
I want you to lead us.
Oh,
I want you to lead with power.
You gotta scream.
You with power. Napoleon Hill. Right here. Lead us.
All right. Self-confidence formula. Napoleon Hill. Think and grow rich.
First, I know that I have the ability to keep it up my neck put my life. Therefore, I demand myself to continue acting toward the statement, and I hereby prevent such action. Second, I realize the dominating thought in my mind will eventually reduce itself in outward physical actions, and gradually transform itself to physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of being the person I intend to become, thereby creating my mind to live in the picture of that person. Third, I know that the principle of suggestion and any desire that exists in the whole of my mind will eventually spring from that practice. Therefore, I will devote limited days to manage myself self-confidence. Four, I have clearly examined search my second achievement in life, and I will never stop trying until I found those self-confidence for attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that self-realization belongs to the Lord, and that the self-confidence is justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction with non-economic effect. I will succeed by attracting myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me, because I will serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfish cynicism, liability, love for all humanity, because I know that negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will love those who lead me, because I will lead them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day, with full faith that will gradually influence my thoughts and actions, till I become myself a success person. Hoorah! Good job, Mike.
Which one am I doing?
12 steps. All right, 12 steps of to the summit of success. This 12-step formula with minimally standard fish with the following adapters in a positive environment guarantees 24-ton transaction annually and unprecedented hurdles of growth and achievement. 1. I dedicate 1 hour daily toward building and developing my self-confidence. 2. I practice and internalize my self-skills for a minimum of 1 hour each day. 3. I contact my sphere of influence by mail, by phone, and or in person, and by email quarterly. 4. I make 150 plus contacts a week, 30 plus per day, by phone or in person. 5. I follow my qualified behavior. 6. I set 5 plus new appointments per week with buyers and sellers. 7. I completely pre-qualify 100% of my appointments. 8. I have appointments and the list of regulations of internet trade. 9. I follow my sellers' meetings and reduce all those that never do meet the minimum 5%. 10. I sell 75% more items in inventory. 11. I will return every signed call, contact every buyer, and meet within 2 hours of inquiry. 12. I deliver highly qualified buyers with pre-qualified money mortgage letter and a signed buyer broker agreement. A remortgage in less time with less energy spent. I recognize the set assumptions and substantial goals for business outcomes. Therefore, I commit to the following steps to develop success. Woo! Right here, bud. Now I am the voice. I am a lead, not follow. I will lead, not follow. I will lead, not doubt. I will lead, not doubt. I will create, not destroy. I will create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a force for good. I am a leader. I am a leader. Defy the odds. Defy the odds. Set a new standard. Set a new standard. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. Right. All right. Morning definitions. I am a professional salesperson, yet called sold. I use information about my client to achieve their goals. I price my listing right. I focus on small wins every day. Negotiate transactions on budget and market. My ability to make it succeed. I get stronger with every step. I am the master of every situation. My thoughts are unstable because I live with integrity. I will attack productive thoughts. I take excellent care of my body. keep that free. I exercise daily. I enjoy helping my clients succeed. I can help them lose. I'm a real estate expert. That's why I expect you to be a real estate expert. I'm a professional. I am financially independent. I am commissioned to be helping others. I have solutions. Prospecting is good for my business. I qualify and I'm sales by owners. Prospecting is easy for me. I enjoy following my SOI. People organize my enthusiasm. I can share knowledge and succeed. I get mentally smarter than most days. I can understand the workers. I have a conversation. I know how to succeed. I can be positive. I can come protect about fun at all times. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Awesome. How was your weekend?
Good.
Good? Anybody get anything good over the weekend? Matt?
I took a listing over the weekend,
Oh.
Where'd it come from?
calling for sale by owner.
How many calls?
It was my first call on Thursday morning.
Oh, prospecting works.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Keith Barton, one call, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. Put it on my new Facebook
That's
page
your
and
new
everything.
deal? That's your
Yeah, right.
No, but this guy, it was actually cool. I'll share it real quick. He canceled the appointment, called him back, rescheduled, like had a pretty weak pre-qualification, and he told me he could meet at 8 a.m. Saturday morning, and that was it.
Wow.
And I took the appointment and woke up Saturday morning kind of grumbling, like I didn't feel great about it. Drove down to Provo and
Boom.
it was great. Yeah.
Nice. I love hearing wins like that. Congratulations. It's crazy to see you explode into this market like you have. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes.
Hey, if I got a listing, do you think George would come back and sit back here?
Maybe.
Closer, I'm working my way up to the front here. I wasn't ready to go up there. Rick, I needed Rick to make a few now.
That's right. We need him to slowly make his
So I
way.
take my pills.
It's a progressive thing in this real estate game. Who else? Wins. Yeah.
I got a call last night from a guy that I recognize his voice and his name, and he said, "Hey, my sister's moving from California, and she wants to look at this house in Draper while I was under contract." So I sent him about 10 more, and we're going to go look at a $500,000 house today.
Wow.
And I realized it was an expired that I had called, and he
Whoa.
called back because I treated him nice on the phone.
Holy cow.
They decided not to relist, but I was
Yeah.
pretty stoked about that.
Nice. So SOI and calling expired for it too, it sounds like, huh? Nice. Yes.
I think sometimes it's when you get through those first no's. A guy at the door the other day told me that they were fine, but then because I started out with how can I help you today, as soon as I asked like a couple more questions, and he was like, well, let me ask you something, and it was like the door was open for him to ask me some questions because that's what I was there for. And then it was like, I have a rental. We actually are outgrowing our house. We want to move into the neighborhood across the street. My dad keeps pushing me to buy more rentals. It was kind of, it was like a flood of like, here's a long plan in front of us kind of thing. So Anyway, so I'm.
After pushing through the first
Yeah,
no.
you just ask a couple more
Wow.
questions, like, it could be, I think because sometimes it's, and I was in a real defeated place last week, and so being able to just say, okay, I hear the no, but you said you're fine for now, that means that eventually something's gonna change. So, anyway, I just, and I'm gonna meet with him after the 10th. He's got some stuff the next couple weeks.
Nice work. That's incredible. Anybody else? Yes.
I just grateful. I'm grateful to my office from Law Real Estate. I come from Law Real Estate, right?
Oh, yes.
Did law merge with Century 21.
Yes.
Great, beautiful idea. And today I closed my last 2 listings with him. So
Wow.
I'm happy because it was my listing, my client, and another because his listing. I'm closing, so I'm happy and grateful.
Doran, we're
Yeah.
excited to have you here, along with the rest of the people from Law Real Estate. Welcome, and we love your presence and energy. Her new name is Tiger.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
Right? Anybody else? Gratitude wins victories. As the birds chirp.
I don't know. So I've just been really tying into the whole universe thing, and just out of the
Yes.
blue on Saturday morning, I got a call from an old client, and he's talking his dad into selling his commercial property out in Tooele. So I'm meeting with him Wednesday to get that signed and going.
Wow.
And so it was just awesome. It's like having stuff starts to happen.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
How it just really, when you focus on the positive, how it just starts flowing to you. Yes. Great. Anybody else? Okay, so announcements. So the new listing contest is coming up. We're giving away some really cool overnight stays. We'll be getting more to you on that, but it's pretty much the same as it was last time as far as the structure. Leverage in on that, guys. We have some really cool stuff that Gretchen got for us this time, and you're going to be pumped once you see what the prices are. So be part of that. Track your numbers. Track what you're doing. Great things will happen. Tony Robbins, his speaker's going to be here. Is it this week?
Yes,
Wednesday.
Could I say something?
Yes,
about that?
please.
If your name is not on the list with Becky at the front desk, we're going to have to stand at the doors and let people in first whose names are on the list, because that's the only
Thank
fair way
you.
to do it. So just make sure your name's on that list.
Yeah, be here. Guys, I think it's going to be standing room only, but to have such a great opportunity to get a sneak peek at what this is about is really important. So stop at the front. Finishing up the book this week, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then Lindsay's going to do the next one, which is going to be what book? Did we
ever read Shoe Dog?
No, but I got that on the list. I want that. When you give it to me, I had Becky put it on the list.
Well, I'd sure recommend that book. Shoe Dog is Phil Knight's story of building Nike. And I didn't have any idea, but he is the same age as my father, who's 80.
Wow.
And Phil Knight's 80 years old, and his company is worth $26 billion. He is quite, his story is pretty amazing. I'm about a third of the way through it, but it was recommended to me, well, it's been recommended by a number of people, but the person who got me to pull the trigger on it ultimately was Gretchen, which, she's a pretty avid reader. For her to recommend it means it must be very, very good.
Nice.
So it's been very cool.
So that's going to be probably on the following. So I've asked Becky to actually place that in order. So
It's fine, whenever.
Can I add something to that?
yeah,
When I was a chauffeur, I drove the head of international marketing one time
yeah.
for Nike. He's like one of Phil Knight's best friends,
Wow.
and just super down there guy is what Phil Knight was. He's built his reputation on, being that kind of person.
Yeah. I love the motto. Just do it. Always done that.
The fun, just the fact of the Nike swoosh, you'd think like some grandiose, it was a intern at Portland State University, graphic designer who
Really?
just randomly gave him a couple of different ideas and said, all right, sounds good.
Wow. Yeah, love it. George, all yours.
Yep. All right, so hopefully you have a pen and paper handy. I want to talk about just the foundation, but I specifically want to talk about skill sets. So you can do them on your phone, but I want to just point out that every great, successful business person in any part of the business has a foundation. and right, we can talk about the mindset, the skills, the disciplines. We can talk about our purpose, what weaves through our goals, our dreams, our schedule. We can talk about systems, but I want to talk about skills for a minute. Look, the number one way, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with this, or maybe one of the quickest ways, I'll just say it that way. One of the quickest and surest ways to elevate your mindset is to improve your skill sets. And so, it's been an interesting few weeks. Every time I turn to an agent, they're talking to me about a listing that they took and that they've already had to either reduce it, or I think, as I told you last week, I sat down with Doug Carey, who's one of the top 10 agents in the company, make well over $500,000 this year. He said, you know what, I have 9 listings, and in the last 7 days, I've reduced 8 of the 9. And he said, and some of them have even had double reductions. So I hope that you are conscious of what's going on, and that it doesn't mean that homes aren't selling. It just means you need to do your job better. And meaning that where I still remember the first year I was in real estate, I could list a home no matter what the price was, and eventually the price would get right because the market was going up so fast back in 1994. So I just would point out to you that if you want to have the ultimate success, meaning that you're earning money in bad markets, great markets, good markets, incredible markets, you're earning money in whether the market is crashing or whether it is stagnant and not even doing anything. And the key to that is the skill sets. And my observation is, and I'm just going to give you these 3, but I'm going to give you 12 skills. Look, this is something that many of you have done with me for years. Write down these 12 skills and just rate yourself on a scale of 1 out of 10, 10 being the highest, on all 12 of these different skills. And just, some of you might not have a notepad, or you might have, but just write in your journal or in your phone in the notes section and just write each one of them. Because look, here's the deal. You master these 12 skills, the market will have no impact negatively for you. You will be excited for bad markets because of your skill sets and what they have been. But I can promise you this is what I see. I see agents be able to set an appointment, then I see them be able to take a listing, and they miss the last ingredient to this equation to be a great listing agent. They are incapable of consistently getting a reduction of price. So just this market is starting to shift. And it's starting to shift in a way that you have to be highly skilled in relationship to that. And if you can't do that, you've got to figure out how. In fact, my tongue-in-cheek statement is, can you get a reduction and the people not hate you after? Can you get a reduction and they'll still speak to you? Can you get a reduction and you are leading them, not just hammering on them? Are you able to get a reduction and it's a team effort instead of a solo, I got to beat them up, right? Just like the script says, and start beating you up, what? Week after week after week. Are you that, seriously, are you that agent? Right? So just remember, it's not about beating them up. It's about really helping them understand what the market is doing. And as I think we'll have time, but I want to jump more into this pricing strategy, and I want to talk about what you should be paying attention to right now. But let's do these 12 skills. So I think I'll put them in a pretty decent order as you do them. But they don't have to be in this precise order. But when we're done, I want you to pick at least 3 of those skills and say, man, if these were the 3 that I made my focus point right now, life would even be better than it is. Or if it's not so great, then these need to be the ones that you're focusing on. So, all right, here we go. So number 1 is your ability to, I'm just going to put here, to set an appointment. I almost was going to put up there prospecting, but it's not necessarily that you can prospect. It's that can you set an appointment consistently. Oftentimes when I'm in California, I will say to them, Taylor, I said, Taylor, you got to set an appointment every day. And they're like, daily? Like as if I've talked and spoken a foreign language. It's fascinating. And I'm like, yes, daily set an appointment. But the only way we all know we can do that is you have to know your numbers. I'm not going to get into deep, but look, some of you can call, truly, some of you can call 4, 5, 6 people and you'll set an appointment. Some of you need to call 30 or 40. And that's even an answer to the script, or the skill set question is, how can someone get, call, let's just say the same 100 people, set 2 or 3 or 4 appointments, when another agent will call the same 100 people and go, these leads suck, I can't get an appointment. And I'm telling you, it's as simple as this. It is the way you formulate your mindset, it is your skill sets, and it is your disciplines in doing the prospecting. So again, scale 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how effective are you to consistently set an appointment? Number 2, how good are you at pre-qualifying? Okay, scale 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Number 3, I'm just going to put here prepare, and I'm going to put here your listing presentation, your CMA, right? Just getting things down, right? Just getting it all together, all right? Number 4 is, I didn't put up here, but I got ahead of myself. Lead follow-up. Okay, scale 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Lead follow-up. You get a lead, do you call? You get a lead, do you get a simple statement on leads? If they tell you 1 week, when do you call them? 3 days, or possibly every day, right? If someone says, call me in 3 or 4 days, I'm going to call every single day. And you may ask, well, what am I going to call them about? You're going to ask them questions. That's simple. Hey, I want to ask you a question. Hey, I forgot to ask you this. Hey, I just realized that, you said call you next week, but whatever, general rule, they say 2 months, you call 1 month. They say 1 month, you call 2 weeks. They say call them in a couple weeks, you call them at least in a week. Get it under a week, you almost may call every day. Everything, whatever they say, cut it in half. All right, number 5. Your ability to present on a listing. So listing presentation specifically. All right, listing presentation. All right, your ability to present effectively, getting contracts signed. So we'll just do this. Number 6, the close. All right. Number 7, objection handling. Right. The joke I recently just said, I think it was in here. I said that there's nowhere in the script book that it says when. Actually, it was in Centerville. In the script book, it does not say, "Hey, will you cut your commission?" It does not say anywhere in that book how much. That is not in the script book. Just for the record, okay? So, I mean, gosh, you could do just simple things like level shifting, like, hey, I can see that commissions are very, very important. What that means to you is you want to net the most money possible and come out with a better question, right? I mean, you can simply say no, any other questions, or you can come back with a better question, right? All right, number 8, scale 1 out of 10. Let's put up here future pacing. And what I mean by future pacing is simple. You know the sign's going to be up in a day, but you tell them it'll be up within the next 3 days. You under promise and over deliver. Under promise, over deliver. Right? You talk to them about the fact that when an offer comes in, hey, you can expect that the seller, or to the seller, you can say, hey, you should expect they're going to ask for closing costs. So they're not shocked. They'll ask for a home warranty. They'll ask for things. Don't be shocked. Don't be mad. Don't be upset. Hey, someone may knock on your door and say they tried to get a hold of me. That's a lie. Be careful of that. When someone says they tried to call your agent, but you didn't answer, it's a lie. When that happens, call me immediately. So, again, I start future pacing, right? Listing. Hey, don't be surprised when a buyer wants to see your home and there's literally at your door. And I have to call you and say, hey, they're out in front of your house. They want to come in right now. But again, I'm future pacing. I'm doing all these things so the experience for the client is an extraordinary one. Okay? Number 9. Let's just put up here buyers, right? Let's put show. Let's put present. Your ability to present and to show buyers, take through properties. Just your ability to do it. How good are you at it? Some of you are extraordinary at it, right? But you think you're using your extraordinary at it because it takes far less skill. Remember that. A buyer takes far less skill. It's not the fact that they take far more what? Time. Listings take far more skill and take far less time. The last time I've heard, I have not heard any of our agents staying at a house for getting a listing, Jeff. I haven't heard anybody in the company staying 3, 4, 5 days in someone's house trying to get the listing. But you'll do that with a buyer. 4 days, and some people go, no, I always get my buyers, and we only go and look at a few properties, and then we put offers out. Okay, you may be the anomaly, but the market will still not continue to allow that to happen because you're competing with everybody else in the market. Again, less time, more skill. More time, less skill. And again, that's the reason why a newer licensee is always driven to buyers. It's the reason why inexperienced agents are driven to buyers because they didn't work on their skill set. Then they have major high-level anxiety of rejection, so they don't work with listings. Look, you got to get over the fact of people not liking you. Does anybody know anybody who doesn't like me? Right? I mean, I mean, there's a lot of people, Jay, who do not like me. Have you ever noticed that?
I haven't.
Never?
No.
Really? All right, Jeff, that's nice he's saying that, because I got plenty of people I could give you on the list.
I'm headed to Fort Morris.
Right? Right? Thank you. But here's the deal, man. I remember when Aaron Richardson years ago, he said, hey, man, he said, do you realize what a target you have on your back? There's no way that if you're being highly successful, there's going to be a target. People are going to want to excuse it. They're going to want to give a reason. They're going to want to tear you down. They're going to want to do something to prevent you from winning. And even if in fact, they'll cheer for you when you're in your worst moments. But once you become successful, it's one of these things. I want you to be successful. I just don't want you to be too successful. I don't want you to get too big. I remember when we used to be, people talking about us being out of business. Now people say, boy, they're too big. They're too big now. I mean, so just imagine what goes on. But you only get those things happening when you're making a big difference and people are interested in what you're doing because you're making such a wave. How many times have you not liked what a successful agent is doing, or not appreciated their path of the success that they're having? And I'm not talking about if they're dishonest or illegal or unethical. I'm talking about the ones that are doing a great job but beating you, whooping you. And do you really acknowledge how good they are? No, usually what we will do is we'll tear them down to lift ourselves up, because that's just humanity and how we normally will do it. I would challenge you just to get better and lift everybody up with you. All right, number 10. Let's do customer service. Scale 1 to 10, how well do you serve the customer? All right, and then number 11, we're going to do pricing. All right, and we're going to do number 12, we're going to do price reductions. We're going to do both. So the difference to me on both of those, right? Pricing is just the ability to price a home properly right in the beginning. The ability to communicate that to a seller, to talk about the strategy of pricing, to talk about the details of the market, to be able to convey the price that it should start at. But then there will be a moment when that home does not sell, and the reason why I've left this last, because where I want to spend some time today, is simply, can you get a reduction? Just think about your business for a moment. How effectively do you run it? And imagine this, that if you had all of these 12 skills, and you were an 8 or higher, that you ranked yourself, I promise you're making a lot of money. You can't even help it. You would be making a fortune if you were at 8 or more. These 12 skill sets, the reason why I can just rattle them off is because they have been my focus point for 24 of my years in this business. And I would just challenge you that if you want to be highly successful, highly effective, have duplication in your process, have it to where you don't wonder whether you're going to have a deal. You're not going to constantly be hoping, praying, and wishing a deal happens. And how do you figure it out? It's simple. That's the recipe. And so on any of these, you need to make sure that you figure out how to do the ones that are your weakest. This is not Strength Finders 2.0 and say, well, I'm only going to focus on my strengths. I'm a great closer, but I stink at presenting. If you haven't read that book that talks about focusing on your strengths, you got to have all 12 if you're going to be highly successful. All 12 if you're going to make a lot of money. All 12 if you're really going to live your dreams. Okay? So remember, you rated yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and then pick the top 3. You say, you know what, for the next 90 days, this is going to be my focus. I'm not going to look left. I'm not going to look right. I'm going to figure out how to be extraordinary at this. Like an 8 or better. And you don't back off of any of these skills until you've got them down, and you sit there and go, you know what? I really am a master of this business. Knowing your craft, mastering your craft. It's the reason why Tony Robbins and we want so many people to get back to New York to unleash the power within. It's the reason why we have someone coming in. It's the reason why we push you to go to a Mike Ferry event. It's the reason why we want you to go to all these things, because every little moment of increase gets you closer to that level of mastery. How many of you, anybody a golfer in here? The hardest strokes to take off of your game are not, I remember I used to be an 18 handicap. Actually, I think it was 22 to be exact. And I have a story. I played in the Utah State Am. Does anybody know what that is? I played in the qualifier. And I was trying to qualify for the Utah State Amateur, one of the longest continuous golf tournaments actually in the nation. And it was very interesting that I was up at Mountaindale and I played it the first time. And I shot this. I was the second worst player second to the worst. Someone actually was worse than me. Out of like 150 people, I shot 102. Now, one of my good friends, some of you know Jason Erskine, went and we played golf about a week or two later, and he showed up, pinned to the top of his hat, 102. Because he was like so amazed, how could I shoot 102? Well, in that year, it's interesting, in that year, I like worked on my game, I went and got lessons, I practiced, I rehearsed, I internalized, kind of sounds like a script in the dialogue, right? And I went from 102 to 76 in a year. And I took 11th place. And I beat some of the best golfers at South Mountain that year. And I only say that from the standpoint that all it is dedicating yourself to skill sets that are necessary. Right? Like I have this bet with Dylan. In fact, do you know who Dylan is? Dylan is my son-in-law. I have a $1,000 bet with him that in the next year and a half that he cannot beat me in golf. On Saturday, I destroyed him, just for the record. And he can hit a ball, and I'm not exaggerating this, 385 yards I was with him when he drove. He was nearly 100 yards behind me, but I birdied and he parked. That's the beauty, all right? And so my whole point is, he has till December 31st, 2019 to beat me in golf for $1,000. And once I said, and I will get your money. I will take your money. I don't care who you're married to. All right. So we played on Saturday, and I played golf, and that's a true story. In 6 weeks, and I shot 6 over, and I beat everybody. Won $300 for my brother Jeff. It was a good day. All right. What did that have to do with anything? Oh yeah, it had to do with the fact of master your script. All right? Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about price reductions. We're going to take 2-3 minutes. All right? So look, whenever I'm talking about the platform, if we were in the outline, I would say to the seller, I would say we're going to speak and we're going to talk about the market conditions. For me, market conditions would be local market. It would be the national market, maybe just a little play on that. The second thing I'm going to say is we're going to talk about my strategy for pricing. I might throw in a little soundbite in there, my strategy for pricing. How about this, by the way? Do you know how many homes, Jay, you appreciate this statement, how many homes do you think the company has sold in 9.5 years? I actually got the number, Dave. It was actually kind of cool last week. So Gretchen said, hey, just by chance, do you want to know how many that is? Because the reason I'm doing this is because I'm doing something really nice. As much as you may love or not love Rob Oakey or Matt Barton or Ken Averett, who basically protect this company, do you have just guess? Just someone give me a number. How many in 9.5 years? How many?
30,000.
26,000. 26,000 homes that we've sold since the inception of the company. And in that $26,000, 26,000 homes that we've sold, imagine all the listings also that never sold, all the buyer contracts that never actually closed. So we're talking even several more thousand than even the 26. And really at the helm of all that is Matt, Rob, and Ken. And how many, out of all the things we've done, and I should say, I gotta make sure I throw in Sam Bell into that equation. So this next week I'm taking all 4 of them to lunch and to just thank them. Because in 9.5 years between all of them being involved, how many settlements do you think I've paid out out of 26,000 transactions? 1. I paid 1. I paid a $3,000 settlement, and I didn't want to, but I said, you know what? It would be nearly $10,000 cheaper to just settle than to fight it. And it was actually on a do not call type of thing. So $3,000. So what's interesting to me is that in 9.5 years, 26,000 transactions and thousands of more transactions, we not only have never paid out a settlement, we have never, ever, not one time, ever submitted something to errors and omission insurance. So it's it may seem overkill that we have the Robs, the Matts, and the Kens, but I'm telling you, just recognize those guys are there to help you. It also speaks to the level of quality and the professionalism that you use. And if I'm you and I'm in a listing appointment, that's kind of a nice little soundbite. I might say something like, Dan, so excited about working with our team. We've sold over 26,000 homes in the last 10 years. And in that time frame, we have not only never gone to court, we have literally never ever even paid out on our errors and omission insurance. But there's a reason, because it speaks to the professionalism of our company. Now let me ask you this. Okay? All right, so second, pricing strategy, and then the third, we talk about the price. I want to just focus here for just one moment, right? We can later talk about, or you can ask one of the other managing brokers and managers in the company, but the market conditions, you can talk about price and all that. But just as a reminder, for several years now, I just simply will take a piece of paper with a client, and I will write on the side, back of it, flip something over and say, put the strategy on. And I will say, number one, that if 3 weeks have gone by and we have no offers, if 3 weeks go by, no offers, and we have no showings, I will tell them that they are 7 to 10% of price. I don't care whether the market's good or bad, I'm going to put that in there. And I tell them every time. Every time. Not, well, I didn't want to talk about that because I was worried that they might back out of the listing. No. And then I go, or number two is that 3 weeks have gone by and we have some showings, and some showings would be somewhere between 1 to 3 per week. Okay? So 1 to 3 per week, no showings, no offers. That means we're 5 to 7% overpriced. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I expect that number one will probably not be the case. But some of you in this room have been in this business long enough, and there's been moments where that has been the case. Where the home is legitimately 10% overpriced. Okay? One of the most important elements of listing homes effectively is to being honest. To being certain of a system, a strategy. So every time I get on the phone with them, even on my weekly call, it would be, hey Chris, I just want to remind you of where we are in the strategy. We've had 1 to 3 showings. We had 3 showings this week. That means we're within 5 to 7%. We still don't have an offer, but we're on the right track. It's this simple, gang. You have 1 to 3 showings per week, you're within 5 to 7% of the price it's going to cost it to sell. What do homes sell for right now from the list price to the sales price? By the way, this is where I would talk about this in market conditions, but what did you say?
It's within $3,000.
Well, what's the percentage?
Oh.
It's basically, I mean, if you look at right now, it's either 100% of list to sale, but market always trends somewhere between 3 to 4% as a general statement. So look, my statement is this in pricing. Can you ever, actually let me tell you this. We handle, if you don't know, all of the LDS churches' residential real estate when there's a sale or purchase across North America, so Canada, US. As we work with them, they'll list a home, and that may be list too low or too high, but no matter what, they will make sure that the home stays on the market for a minimum of 30 days. Do I believe it needs to be 30 days? No. They do. They require 30 days, no matter what the property is, 30 days of market time. But as a general statement, and if you have a home that can be on the market for a minimum of at least 3 to 5 days, and no matter what you price the home at, if you price it low, you price it high, the market will not allow the home to go underpriced or overpriced. It is that simple. If you price it too high, what happens? No showings, and what else? No offers. If you price it too low, what happens? Multiple offers and an absolute crazy fest, right, with people putting on offers. The market does not allow you to do anything but price it right, and you're not the market. So get confident in your pricing. Not confident in the sense of, don't sit there like you're bearing witness and testimony to the price of a home. Are you crazy? You don't take on the price of a home and go, I promise you and I assure you that your home will sell for blank and I'm always right. That is ridiculous that you take responsibility for the market. I only say that not because you don't want to be confident, but because it's a risky business. You're not the market. You're not buying the house. You don't know what every person in humanity is going to do. So I would at least say, I would do things like, what this speaks to is this. You can see, obviously, this is what would happen. But I'm not going to assure them and make promises of what the price. What I'm going to promise is, I promise you no one will market your home better. No one will be more confident
and more solid in regards to the way they communicate to leads, calling them back, marketing, exposing. That is a guarantee, but I cannot guarantee your price. Together as a team, we will work together on deciding a price. Together. And the price will be set by those who are in it. And if the price is too high, you can know confidently that I marketed it, I exposed it, and I exposed it to the world that if anyone wanted to know about it, they got to know about it. And if that means that the home doesn't sell, that means it's a pricing issue, not my issue. Here's another thing. I've got to go. But just, what's the 3 responsibilities of a seller? Number 1, price the home right. Number 2, have the home available. Number 3, have the home available in the right condition. That's it. It's always what I tell them. I would say you have 3 responsibilities. That's all I need from you. Price it right, have it available, and have it in the right condition when I see it. If you can do those 3 things, we're going to have an extraordinary relationship. Okay? All right, so strategy, that's the strategy. We'll go more into detail. I'm over time, I know that. But any questions, comments, thoughts? Yeah?
I was going to mention that strategy right that he just said, plus everything else. Cody Watts has that all written out, and he'll go over it. And he gives
I coached Cody on that years ago, right? Yeah.
But they've got it there the whole time. You know.
Every call I make, every conversation I have, I constantly, I can't believe in their price, but I can believe in a strategy. Remember?
Well, and I've used that before because I learned it from you, and a seller really appreciates it. Like
there's a system.
When you go out in front and you're like, oh, I don't know, I picked a price, and if it doesn't sell, then they like to know exactly, like, oh, and I've had somebody say, oh, you really have that down, to a system, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's easy to tell.
It's so easy to tell when you know you're off.
And that
don't do this.
I
just don't know why it's not selling. Oh my gosh, feng shui, open houses. Gosh, I get so irritated by people and how they price, and I get so irritated by what they blame it on. I get so irritated on what they like. I just a system, man, structure. Chris, and then
I gotta say something really quick. 90% of the time, think about this in your own deal. Every agent I talk to and things that I've learned, when it comes to future pacing, if your client says something that they didn't understand something, or something goes awry, or whatever it is, so many times we point the finger at our clients like, oh, I have a crazy person that I'm working with, or whatever it is. But it's because that agent said or didn't say something in the beginning to set the stage, future pacing. So learn that. The better you do that, your transactions go so much smoother.
Much smoother. Chris, just remember, every call I make to the seller, hey, I have a showing, Matt. Someone wants to see the home today at 4 o'clock. They'll be there between 4 and 6 o'clock. I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. Hey, here's the good news. Good news is, you know what? This is our 3rd showing this week, man. We're right in the middle of the strategy. We're in good shape. That means we're probably, Matt, within 5 to 7% of the actual sales price. So we're on the right track. And then you're as a client and say, hey, that's great, George, that's great. And we just constantly future pace so that we're not having all of this craziness that goes on with sellers. It's about being honest, about being real, being authentic. And then, Danette, finish up.
Just really quickly, I'm looking for a house right now, as you know. And when houses are overpriced, and they just kind of sit there and they drop off your view, and you're just looking at what's new on the market, and you just totally forget about all those other houses that were overpriced. Doesn't matter how many price reductions. In fact, they kind of make you angry when you see them as a realtor.
Yeah, like, what are they thinking? Yeah. Why are they not adjusting? Why are they not?
They really do a disservice to themselves when they overprice it, because people,
Yeah, I think most of you know you, but just everyone knows who Danette is. She's our head of marketing and PR for the company. If you didn't know. Dora?
That location has a lot to do with the overpricing, because I have this experience with my first house here. It was 2 blocks away from my listing from Sugar House. It was overpriced. It took 2 months, but we sold it overpriced. It was just people from another place in the country. They offered, so kind of like, location has to do with the maintaining the price. That's my.
I know, but I still would argue that it still has nothing to do with the location. It has to do with location in relationship to price. It's always price. Always, right? But location may affect that. There may be certain conditions that affect that. But you'll know that as you go through those 2-3 weeks of going through that strategy of either you have showings, no showings, some showings, lots of showings, or no showings, right? And as you go through that, you start to realize where you should be on that strategy. Okay, let's roll.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'll be here for a few minutes after. All right, here we go. I succeed because I know the rules. I'm an optimist. I love talking to new people. I know what's important to me. I remember people's names. I have a daily plan I follow it. I am passionate about real estate. I know consistency is my greatest tool. I like asking questions and listening. I enjoy reading to improve my sales skills. My thoughts lead my emotions, actions, goals. I focus on my dreams daily. My presentation is powerful, persuasive. I improve my skills daily. I am happy. I love the prospect because it feeds my business. I see my future is awesome. I love my life. I am grateful and thankful. I control my thinking. I believe in me. I feel outstanding. I use my beliefs and opportunity daily. I get things done. I provide excellent customer service. I drink water daily. I connect with people. People love me. I love others. I am disciplined and adaptable with a daily schedule. I prospect daily. I set appointments daily. I'm a master persuader. I achieve my goals. I'm a real estate rock star. I am passionate about my life. I live every day with purpose. I am confident in my sales skills. I know my destiny. I am healthy and strong. I am powerful. I am unstoppable. I can be positive, exciting, fun, present, prosperous, all time. Yes! Morning. 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 Morning.
I'm just saying, you know, job again. Casey gave the same presentation Friday morning.
He did?
He did, exact same one.
Wow, all right. That's good. You have a few minutes?
Yeah.
Sit down. Did